Bienvenidas y bienvenidos a Spotlight. I am Jorge Merced, Associate Artistic Director at Pregones Puerto Rican Traveling Theater. And on behalf of our entire family of artists and cultural workers, thank you for joining our weekly series showcasing creatives at work. This episode features artists Víctor Pablo Gaetán and Gabo Lugo. These two master percussionists and composers share insights into their creative processes and how current world affairs have impacted their latest compositions. From performing at some of the most revered New York City concert hall stages to multiple Broadway pits, recording studios, and several productions here at Pregones, Víctor Pablo has amassed an impressive resume of work. He is a member of contemporary percussion quartet Mobius Percussion, bomba jazz group, the Fernando García Band, the TM Street Band, and is co-musical director of People of Earth. He also joins the long trajectory of artists here at Pregones PRTT who, like myself, graduated from La Escuela Libre de Música de San Juan. Gabo Lugo is an acclaimed sound designer and music producer. He has also been in many productions here at Pregones PRTT, including The Marchers, Puerto Rican, and our production of Flaco Navaja's Evolution of a Sonero. Born in Puerto Rico and a graduate of Berklee College of Music, Gabo's production work has been nominated for multiple Grammy and Latin Grammy Awards. Gracias por estar con nosotros y disfruten de este episodio de Spotlight.
My name is Víctor Pablo. I'm from Carolina, Puerto Rico, but I was raised in Balsa, San Jose, in San Juan, so it gets iffy.
My name is Gabo Lugo, and I'm from San Juan, Puerto Rico, para bailar y gozar.
I'm a musician. I'm a percussionist, mainly a percussionist, but I dabble in a lot of different things, music-wise. And even in music, I work a lot with as a sideman with other groups, with other artists like Arturo Farrell, Nestor Torres, and also do Broadway shows like Lion King, Radio City Music Hall, etc., etc. So you name it, we're gonna work it out.
There's definitely music involved in what I do, but more than music, I put sounds together and create vibes from putting sounds together. And a musician, I think it's important to clarify that a musician has a different type of skill set, has a different practice, it's a different thing. I just hit things and record them and manipulate the sounds and put them together and make songs. From the first time I put my hands on a drum, I took it really like, it was delusional how seriously I took doing art at any level, whether it was a theater play at school or me performing for the family or me being el nacimiento viviente, whichever character. It was just a serious thing, and it just developed into what I just kept doing it.
My family is a family of musicians. My dad, Víctor García, he has his own group, La Sonora Sanjuanera, which was my school when I was growing up. But I do have memories, like my earliest memories as a child was just playing a tambourine with all my family singing around. And I do recall early performances. I must have been like 8 or 9. I don't know, I guess I never really considered anything else other than making music.
There was a piano in my house. Nobody really played it, but I do remember sitting on it and like playing with it, not playing it, but playing with it. And I remember studying violin. That was the first instrument that I took a class. I learned how to play something. It was the violin.
My high school is La Escuela Libre de Música de San Juan, Ernesto Ramos Antonini, and Escuela de Bellas Artes de Carolina too. I learned some music there. If it weren't for those schools, I wouldn't be a musician today. What I like best about what I do is that I get to wear many hats. I get to do a lot of different things. In Puerto Rico, we grow up playing musics of all kinds. You know, we go to school for classical music, for popular music, for jazz, for a lot of different things. And following that road here in the city has allowed me to perform and be involved in a lot of different and really cool projects. Some of them are grassroots, no pay, but there's something to them, and it carries a message. And some other projects are pretty big work, which I'm very grateful to be a part of, like Radio City Music Hall, and like other musicals and seeing like Lion King, like Beetlejuice, like Flaco Navaja's Evolution of a Sonero. It's so many different flavors, but at the end of the day, they all connect somehow, and that's where the fun thing begins for me, to find the dots and connect them.
I don't know if it's the fact that I do many different things, but the process is messy and it keeps changing. More than it is messy, it keeps changing because I keep changing what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm mixing a song or adding sounds to it or taking out things or choosing what sounds to add to a film or to a play. I don't have a process other than just getting to it. The process is having a practice and guarding the practice and being faithful to the practice, and then the process just happens.
When I create my art, I'm finding out that I like to have a purpose first and foremost. If I'm gonna take time, if I'm gonna take energy and put something out there of my own creation, I would rather it carry a message and not detract from other messages maybe that need to be heard. Ever since the pandemic and the quarantine and all this stuff, it's kind of limited us to make and create with whatever we have in front of you or whatever we have in front of us. And through that, I've been forced to make the decisions on my own that before I didn't have to worry about. Honestly speaking, I never paid attention to lyrics. Never, ever. I can learn the song and the hits and the horn lines and all that stuff, but I never really paid attention to the lyrics. If I learned anything, it was by accident. So now I'm paying more attention to them, and I feel like a lot of things are clicking, and I'm understanding a lot more. And because this is my own music, or this would be my own art that I would be putting out, it's making me make decisions. And in making those decisions, I'm realizing that less is more.
Before I started making songs, I was making beats for other people for many years. I worked with Tego, Vicosi, Arcángel, Queen, Joel Randy, like full-on reggaeton. But that was always a world that was very separated from drumming and like playing actual music with people together in a room. And now those two worlds are kind of coming together in the same room, where I have my speakers to make beats, but I also brought my drums and I'm playing in here, also taking the beats where the musicians are at and just putting it all together and making songs. And I'm very excited about everything. And I think I love what I'm doing, really. I really love what I'm doing. I find inspiration in in people, also in any kind of ancient practice that someone has been doing for thousands of years. I'm just interested in knowing why and how is it, why are we still doing this? Something good must be coming out of it. I love spiritual drumming and music as a spiritual practice. I think is powerful and it's something that has filled me with inspiration and clarity, and something that I really look forward to maintaining in my life. The song with Bebo is a song called Llévame. I know it sounds like a cliche, but it was very spontaneous. It was very on the moment. We didn't plan something. We made this track together. It was Bebo Dumont, Frankie LaRue, and me. Frankie kind of led the way in making the track. Me and Bebo sung on it, and it's about being alone and feelings.
Llévame a mí, pa' donde tú vayas. No le digas a nadie que tú sabes que de cualquier malla sale un sobrao. ¿Cuándo será la hora que esto se acabe? Le pregunto a todo el mundo, pero nadie sabe. Me dicen que me calma, que lo coja suave. Trato de hacerle caso, pero sigo grave.
Llevo muchos días en mi casa, quiero irme a la playa.
An awesome team of amazing people from Puerto Rico, led by Claudia Calderón. There is also Juanqui, Pablo Ascanio, and I know I'm forgetting names, please forgive me, but they're killing it right now. They're doing so many interesting things. And the new stuff is crazy. It's looking amazing. Our process for this one shifted in a way, because everything else we did before, we obsessed so much about every single sound, little thing, and added so many ear candy and tricks, production tricks. And this one has drums, bass, keys, and rap, and go, and like let it go. There's not a single like drop or like trick or breakdown, or it just goes.
Musically speaking, though, I feel I've learned that I like minimalism. I've been digging minimalism more and more. And I appreciate a true, genuine mingling conversation between instruments and genres and styles of music. I try to put a lot of thought into how can I take X music and Y music and have a conversation between the two without stacking them together. So it's more about taking stuff out and figuring out what complements each other and how they complement each other, so that we can create a new conversation that's intelligible and that's enjoyable.
This was the first place I worked when I moved to New York City as a young artist. It's one of the only places in New York where I can explore my artistic side and my culture.
We are so proud to be recognized as one of the leading Latinx theater ensembles in the nation. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being part of our family.
For me, Pregones is a pillar of the Latinx, Latino, Latina, whatever you want to call it, artistic community in New York. After Puerto Rico, I was in Philly for a few years, about 6 years, going to school there. And even though there are some organizations, even though there are some people that want to make a difference, it just seems like the community, for be it what it be, I didn't feel such a pull, I didn't feel such a presence as Pregones has.
For me, Pregones is a home, a shelter, and gym, but a gym in the best way, like not a gym, like it's a place for working out. It's like a incubator, fostering talent, um, pushing culture, but at the same time preserving traditions in a beautiful way. And I'm really honored to just have come in contact with this place.
I sort of ran into this theater because I was looking for stuff. I was looking for Puerto Rican artists and plays and shows and music. And this popped up and I started coming and I kept coming and here we are. And I've come here to see plays, to see shows, to see commemorations of El Grito de Lares, of movies, you name it. And this place is so important to our community because it's a platform that we all need.
It's been a great experience being around so many inspiring people, teachers. It was my mentor who brought me to Pregones, and it was just great. Yeah, Pregones is a wonderful organization that's admirable not only because they help us artists, they're also stay active in the community with elders, with the youth, and it's really an amazing place to grow. And I'm grateful to be here.
Some of the moments I remember the most of performing on the stage was the one that's at the front of my mind is with People of Earth. And that wasn't even a performance. We recorded the performance here, thank you to the Step Up Artist Grant. We managed to record Majestad Negra, which is a poem by Pales Matos, a negroide poem, now called the Afro-Antillano. We managed to get this beautiful group of people to do a conversation of bomba and rumba at the same time. And what came out of it was so beyond my imagination, so beyond what I could picture and what I heard in my mind and what I thought could be. Once these people were in, people like Nicolás Lavoy, like Julia Loiza, like Keisel Jimenez on the congas, and the rest of the people of Earth, Gabriel, Ivan, Amaya. I mean, it was gorgeous. It was a gorgeous day, and I'll remember that forever.
Some of the moments I cherish the most performing at Pregones, I have to say, is performing next to one of my idols, Anthony Carrillo, and just witnessing such a level of greatness in bones and flesh. Like, it's real. He's really next to me, and that definitely leveled up my goals. Like, it set up a new level of whoa, de aquí para arriba. It's like, okay. Some of my favorite moments were when we went to those homes for the elderly and like made someone's day better, but like way better than it would have been if we weren't there. And receiving that energy of someone being really grateful because they really had a good time just because you were there. You don't even gotta play. You go and they're happy that you're there. That was awesome.
Over the past few months, I've learned a lot. I feel like artistically I've learned a lot. First, creatively, I felt stunted, to be honest. La incertidumbre, no sé cómo decir eso en inglés, the uncertainty of the state of the world in general, not being able to see the people that you want to see, not being able to play with the people you want to play, all these prospects of amazing works of arts and gigs and works and shows all completely disappeared. And that's the same for everyone, not just me. Some people respond to stress. For some people, I feel like stress is a great catalyst for creating and producing. For me, it is when it's not my own music. when it's my own creative output, it's very overwhelming, and I end up with no space in my head or really in my heart to really put stuff out there. So what I ended up doing was diving deep into other skills. So I started taking classes, learning how to video edit, learning how to record, because I did do a couple of collaborations with other people, and I learned that I don't know how to record myself. So I started learning how to record myself. So, I learned more about the things that I was lacking than how I create music, I guess. And rather than wallow in self-pity and, kind of not do anything, I just decided, since creatively speaking, I can't really focus, I'm just gonna amolar los machetes, como quien dice. I'm gonna work on these skills.
Over the past few months, I've learned that most work meetings could have been an email, and most things could have been a phone call, and that really there's no excuse to stop creating and putting it out there through the internet, through the tools we have. And I've been in a studio my whole life. Since that first time I got a computer and a program to make beats in 6th grade, 7th grade, I never left my room, really. My mom had to hide the power cable of the computer, so I would just be a human in the house and have food, drink water. On that level, I'm still just here making beats every day. I wake up, make some music, and do what I gotta do. So to that level, the routine didn't change that much. What changed was my interaction and the way of cooperating with other people.
Mobius is a contemporary chamber percussion quartet. So what we do is a lot of modern music, a lot of new music, particularly not for old school type of percussion music like timpani and snare drum, which there are pieces like that, but more on the side of found objects like clay pots, like tin cans, like bottles and stuff like that. And these pieces, sometimes they're called puzzle music. So that's why it gets challenging. And a Mobius strip is, I guess it's one of those impossible shapes. Have you seen those cuadros? ¿Cómo se dice eso? Paintings, I guess, is it a painting? Que hay un montón de escalera. There's a lot of staircases just going all over the place, and it's impossible. That's not a possible structure. And that's what a Mobius strip is. It's just kind of like a strip, but it kind of bends in a way, and then it meets again, but it doesn't meet in the way that it should. And I guess what it's implying is the repetitiveness of the music that we usually like to play, but also the changing nature of it, and that even when we get back to the beginning, it's not the same. With so many things happening in the world at the same time, I'm hesitant to make art to distract from those things that are happening that I feel people should pay attention to. When that song came out, I shared it with a few people that I trust. I shared it with Wango from Los Pleneros, and he gave me some encouraging words. I shared it with Julia, with Mateo, with Nico. With a few people, I noticed that they were connecting with the song. And the song is called Qué Dolor Inmenso, What an Immense Pain, which every verse, it's all in Spanish, but every verse kind of made a point to señalar, to point out examples of injustices and examples of police abuse that I feel that us as Latinos and Afro-Latinos particularly are at risk of in this country. We are also, at risk, and there have been plenty of Latino and Latinas that have been victims of police brutality. So this song came out. Of course, we wanted a lot of people to be a part of it, but at the same time, I was on a time crunch because I wanted it to be done so that we could raise funds for two things. One thing was the COVID-19 and emergency bail funds, because at the moment there were a lot of protesters that were being taken to jail, particularly people who are not citizens who were at protests. They were particularly being taken by ICE and being held in detention centers. So this particular fund was funding bails for people who were held there. The other half of it was for Colectivo Ile, which is a colectivo in Puerto Rico that does a lot of very important anti-racist work, and is one of the few organizations in the island, seems like, that is doing that kind of important work. So I put it on Bandcamp. I had a lot of help from a lot of good friends. We put it on Bandcamp, and all proceeds from that song I'm periodically donating to these entities.
To me, diversity, equity, and inclusion are achieved by staying sensible to everyone's experience in life and adjusting behavior. Not just staying sensible, but actually adjusting your behavior to stay sensible. Adjusting behavior could be adjusting your language or adjusting things you actually do. In many ways, some of the most eye-opening conversations about what's going on, I've had with my students, who are young kids, high school kids from the city, from all over the city, who, man, they take me to school every day on how to stay sensible to everyone's experience of the world.
When you are outside of your environment, and when you're outside of your culture, and when you're doing artistic work, wherever you are, you're going to be an ambassador for your own culture and for where you come from, whether you want it or not. You know, history is told by the victors. History is told by the victors. So every history that we read, every book that we read, has a bias and has a point of view that, particularly with our musics and with our cultures, is not necessarily first person. It's usually told by some other person who sees it through some other lens. So chances are that you, coming from that community, will have a better sense of what that music means and how that music works and where it comes from. My point is, check your own backyard before you go around the block.
After you find what to do, define why you're doing it, and then make a plan, and that's it. Without the why, it's really hard to do the what, because the what can be anything, but it's so hard to do it without the why.
Las manos se descontrolan, solo pienso en los míos, en que aquel le dijo al otro que lo bueno se acabó, sin fecha y sin trabajo, con tiempo para dedicar, pero la musa no pasa sin tener donde crachar, sin silencio para oír, sin calma para destilar, sin un claro porvenir, y siento que I'm about to lose control.